The morning light filtered through the curtains, casting an eerie glow over the bedroom. The silence was profound, interrupted only by the occasional creak of the old house settling. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at my husband's phone, its screen still illuminated by the damning messages I had discovered hours earlier. A cold chill ran down my spine as I thought about the implications of what I had found. The man I had shared my life with for over 15 years was a stranger, his secrets unraveling the very fabric of our existence. It was Saturday morning when the notifications began. At first, I thought it was work-related, but the frequency and urgency of the alerts piqued my curiosity. My husband had left his phone on the kitchen counter, a rare occurrence in itself. As I reached for it, a sense of dread filled me. The app was one I had never seen before, a messaging service that promised anonymity and security. The messages were explicit, conversations between my husband and a man named John. They spoke of things that made my skin crawl, the initials CP glaring back at me from the screen. The conversation started innocuously enough, with mentions of mundane topics that quickly turned darker. As I scrolled further, I found images, sickening, explicit images, that confirmed my worst fears. These were not just two consenting adults engaging in illicit activities. These were images involving children. The sheer horror of what I was seeing made my stomach churn. My hands shook as I took screenshots of everything, documenting the evidence. Each message was a nail in the coffin of the life I thought I knew. I felt an overwhelming sense of betrayal and disgust. The man I had loved, the father of my children, was involved in something abhorrent. I couldn't process it all at once. My mind raced with questions and doubts. How long had this been going on? Had our children been exposed to any danger? I checked their behavior in my mind, remembering every moment of unease or unusual action, but found nothing concrete. Still, the fear gnawed at me. It felt surreal, like watching a nightmare unfold while powerless to stop it. The minutes dragged on as I debated what to do next. By the time I had gathered enough courage, it was mid-afternoon. I grabbed my keys and headed to the police station, the weight of my discovery pressing down on me with every step. As I drove, doubts crept in. Was it possible that I had misunderstood something? Could there be an explanation that made this less horrific? The logical part of my brain told me that the images were undeniable, but my heart clung to the hope that there was some mistake. I parked outside the station, sitting in my car for a long moment, grappling with the enormity of what I was about to do. Reporting my husband would destroy our family, but protecting my children and other potential victims outweighed my fears. The officers listened as I recounted what I had found, their expressions grave. They asked me to show them the evidence, and I handed over the phone, my hands trembling. They assured me that an investigator would be assigned and that I had done the right thing. The gravity of their reactions confirmed my worst fears. I left the station feeling a mix of relief and terror. The rest of the weekend was a blur, a charade of normalcy as I pretended everything was fine. My husband was oblivious, going about his routines while I kept my secret, waiting for Monday to arrive. The investigator's call came early Monday morning, his voice calm but firm, guiding me through the process once more. He told me that what I had uncovered was serious, potentially leading to state-level charges. My heart pounded as I listened, the reality of the situation sinking in. My husband was arrested later that morning, taken into custody without warning. He called me, confused and scared, unaware that I was the one who had turned him in. Visiting my husband in jail was one of the hardest things I had ever done. The look of betrayal on his face when I told him it was me who had reported him was seared into my memory. His pleas and denials fell on deaf ears as I explained that I had no choice. The safety of our children and the law demanded it. He was furious, his rage barely contained as he lashed out with words meant to wound. I left the visit feeling shattered, The man I had loved, now a distant memory, replaced by a monster I could hardly recognize. The days that followed were a whirlwind of emotions and preparations. I took time off work, needing to focus on my children and their well-being. They were innocent in all of this, their love for their father untainted by the knowledge I now carried. My oldest was particularly affected, his anger a palpable force in our home. I searched for a therapist, knowing we would need professional help to navigate the storm ahead. The investigation revealed more than I had ever imagined. There were other apps, other men, and a web of deceit that stretched back years. My husband had been living a double life, his secrets hidden beneath a veneer of normalcy. The shockwaves of his betrayal rippled through our lives, affecting everything and everyone. Therapy sessions became a lifeline, a place where we could begin to untangle the mess left in his wake. My children struggled to understand, their young minds grappling with concepts far beyond their years. I did my best to shield them, to provide stability in a world that had been turned upside down. Nights were the hardest, the quiet hours filled with my thoughts and fears. Sleep was elusive, my mind racing with what-ifs and whys. Support came from unexpected places, friends and family rallying around us. Their presence was a balm, a reminder that we were not alone. I found strength in their words, their reassurances giving me the courage to face each day. Yet, despite their support, there was a void that could not be filled, a part of me forever altered by the events that had transpired. As the legal proceedings progressed, the full extent of my husband's actions came to light. The charges were severe, the evidence overwhelming. He was found guilty, sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The finality of the verdict brought a sense of closure, but it also marked the beginning of a new chapter, one where we would have to rebuild from the ashes of our former life. The house felt different now, the shadows longer, the air heavier. I moved through the days in a haze, focusing on the small tasks that kept us going. Each moment was a step forward, a move towards healing. The children adjusted slowly, their resilience a source of inspiration. They found new routines, new joys, their laughter a reminder that life, despite its darkness, could still hold moments of light. Flashbacks haunted me, memories of happier times tainted by the knowledge of what lay beneath. I remembered our wedding day, the joy and hope we felt as we embarked on a life together. The birth of our children, milestones and celebrations, all now viewed through a lens of betrayal. The man I thought I knew was a stranger, his true self hidden behind a mask of lies. In the quiet moments, I reflected on my own role in this tragedy. How had I missed the signs? What could I have done differently? The questions were endless, each one a dagger to my heart. Therapy helped, providing a space to process and understand, but the journey was long and arduous. There were times when despair threatened to overwhelm me, the weight of it almost too much to bear. But in those moments, I looked at my children, their innocence and strength a beacon of hope. They needed me, and I would not let them down. We would find a way through this, together. The seasons changed, marking the passage of time. Our lives slowly took on a new rhythm, the wounds beginning to heal. There were setbacks, moments of grief and anger, but we moved forward, one step at a time. The support of friends and family remained a constant, their love a foundation upon which we rebuilt our lives. Looking back, I realized that the nightmare had given us a new perspective. It had stripped away the illusions, forcing us to confront the harsh realities of life. But it had also shown us our strength, our ability to endure and overcome. We were not defined by the actions of one man, but by our response to them. The future was uncertain, filled with challenges and unknowns. But it was also filled with possibilities, a chance to create a new story, one defined by resilience and hope. We had faced the darkness and emerged, scarred but stronger. The road ahead would not be easy, but we were ready to walk it together. As I stood at the window, watching the sunrise, I felt a glimmer of something I had not felt in a long time: hope. The world was still a place of mystery and fear, but it was also a place of beauty and promise. We had been through the worst, and we had survived. The dawn brought with it a new beginning, a chance to write a new chapter, one filled with light and love.